You might think credit card debt is rare, but millions of people are carrying balances far higher than you'd expect. People are piling up balances so quickly that the interest can turn small debts into mountains before they even notice. The reality is far more alarming than most people realize. This video is sponsored by Moomoo. Right now, when you deposit your first $100, you'll get $20 in Nvidia stock, a 20% bonus. Plus, they're offering up to 8% APY on uninvested cash for a limited time. Check out the referral code in the comments to sign up. So, when I was 18, I got myself into credit card debt for the first time. I'll never forget, you know how they send you cards in the mail. Well, I qualified for one and it was like a $500 limit. I had zero business getting a credit card. I had no clue how it worked. Shortly after getting said credit card, I unexpectedly found out I was pregnant. Naturally, I pretty much ate my emotion in food and maxed out my credit card with $500 worth of McDonald's. Not my smartest move. However, I remember getting the bill and I would make the minimum payment. The minimum payment was like $31 and I was making that consistently for a couple months, but every time I'd get the statement, the amount increased. Obviously, little did I realize I accepted a credit card with an interest rate of 24%. So, the minimum payment was doing absolutely nothing. At the end, I think my $500 maximum, the amount I owed was like $79. And I just didn't understand. And they don't teach this in school. It's super common for young adults to be flooded with credit card offers, especially when you're just out of high school or starting college. Most people don't fully understand debt at that age. More specifically, how quickly it can add up. So, when a credit card comes with a $5,000 limit and a $250 or $500 cash bonus if you spend a few thousand in the first few months, it sounds like free money, but the reality is these offers are designed to get you to spend more than you normally would. Maybe it's a new pair of sneakers you didn't need, that extra concert ticket, or even just taking friends out for dinner. All of a sudden, you've hit the $3,000 or $4,000 mark, earned your bonus, and feel pretty clever. But now you owe thousands of dollars on a card with interest rates that can be 20% or more. The company isn't running a charity. That cash bonus is just a hook. Credit card companies know the game. Most people won't pay off the balance right away. And the longer you carry that balance, the more the interest snowballs in their favor. That free $500 bonus, it can easily end up costing you $200 to $300 a month in interest if you don't wipe out the debt quickly. The system is built to make sure they get that money back fast and then some. I'm $89,000 in credit card debt, and I'm here to break down my cards to tell you how much I have on each card and what my payment is each month on each card. I'm going to start with the smallest card and work my way up to the highest card. I do have 11 credit cards, so we're going to be here for a minute. My first card is R. Carter's credit card. It has $199 on it. My monthly payment is $30. My second card, Old Navy. It has $362 on it and a monthly payment of $30. Third card is R. City card. It has $1,742 on it and the monthly payment is $85. Fourth is Shields. It has $3.57 on it and our monthly payment is $95. Next up is our Discover card that has $4,969 on it and our payment is $135 a month. Next up is Chase that has $5,615 on it and our payment is $153 a month. Next up is my personal Military Star card that has $7,860 on it. The payment is $170 a month. Next up is my husband's Military Star card that has $8.95 on it and the payment is $175. These are the fun ones. Next up is our Visa Platinum that has $11.53 on it and our monthly payment is $285. Our Visa Cash Rewards card that has a total of $20,371 on it and our monthly payment is $520. Last but not least is our American Express that has $25,371 on it and our payment is $620 a month. The total on these cards a little bit more than I said on a previous video because they have been hit with some interest since then. So, our total is $89.23. And that brings our total monthly payments up to $2,298. Follow along and watch me pay these off over the next few years. Lendingry reports that the average credit card debt among cardholders who don't pay off their balances is about $7,300. That's no small amount. To put that into perspective, it's about a year's worth of typical car payments, 2 to 3 months of rent in a mid-sized city, or even the entire budget for a family vacation. And that's just the average, meaning plenty of people are carrying balances well into the tens of thousands. The real issue isn't just the number on the statement. It's how this kind of debt affects daily life. Carrying this much on a card can limit your ability to save, delay big purchases, and add stress to finances you already juggle. For many, it creates a feeling of running in place, making payments every month, but never really getting ahead with the balance looming over everything else. Do we have savings? Are we able to have savings? Because I'm 28, almost 29. I don't have savings. I don't have savings. I do good to pay all my bills and have a little extra to kind of do what I want, do what my kids want, but I don't have savings. So, am I alone, or is that kind of pretty common right now? Anytime I do have savings, I end up having to dip into it because something comes up or I didn't incorporate an expense into my budget, which I suck at. So if you have any tips on that, let me know. Seems like I couldn't have savings, and I can't keep savings because as soon as I get the money over to my savings account, it's so easy to just transfer it back over to my checking account for something I need. So, it's just constant cycle. I don't have savings. A bank rate survey found that roughly 33% of Americans have more credit card debt than they do in emergency savings. That means for every person who feels confident about handling a sudden $1,000 emergency, there's another who would struggle because they owe more on their cards than they could ever cover in cash. Think about how this plays out in real life. Say your car suddenly needs a $1,200 repair. If you've only got $500, but you're already carrying a $5,000 balance on a credit card, you don't really have a choice. You swipe the card again. Now you're deeper in debt. And at a 20% interest rate, that $1,200 repair could cost you hundreds more if you can't pay it off quickly. Instead of being able to fall back on cash savings, millions of people are stuck compounding the problem by adding to a balance that's already weighing them down. Not only is it stressful, it's a cycle that's incredibly difficult to escape once you're in it. I have been financially not doing great. I am a nurse. Even though I am a nurse and I make good money, I don't have money, which is the sad part because of the choices that I've made still currently and the choices that I've made like previously, like from a couple of years. I am in credit card debt, and it's this unhealthy cycle that I have been putting myself into, and this just relationship with money has just never been something that I was talked about. Lifestyle creep is definitely a thing. At first glance, you might assume that credit card debt is mostly a low-income problem that people fall into simply because they don't earn enough to cover the basics. And sure, that does happen. Life throws curveballs, unexpected expenses pop up, and sometimes people genuinely hit a rough patch with no other option. But the surprising part is this: it's not just those living paycheck to paycheck who are carrying balances. In fact, the data shows the middle class and even the upper middle class are more likely to have credit card debt than anyone else. About 33% of people making $22,000 a year carry credit card debt. But that rises to 46% for those earning $43,000 and peaks at 57% for households earning around $70,000. Even at $116,000, well over half, 54%, still carry balances. And nearly half of those making $189,000 do as well. It's only at the very top among households making $390,000 or more where the percentage drops to 25%. So this isn't just a story about people who are struggling. It's a story about how deeply debt has woven itself into the financial lives of Americans, regardless of income. Credit cards have quietly become part of their financial normal, even when their income suggests they should be doing fine. Nearly half of credit card holders carried a balance last year. In other words, they didn't pay off their credit cards in full, even though so many of us promise ourselves we'll never let interest pile up. Think about it. You buy a $200 pair of shoes, a couple of $15 lattes each week, or splurge on takeout because life's busy. And you tell yourself, I'll pay this off next month. But then next month comes, and maybe you buy a few more things, and the balance rolls over. That $200 isn't just $200 anymore. At a 20% interest rate, it can easily grow to $250 or $300 if you only make the minimum payment. Suddenly, what felt like a small treat or a convenient purchase has become a lot more expensive. And before you know it, you're carrying a bigger balance than you ever planned. It's a trap many people fall into without even realizing it. And it starts with just a few everyday purchases. Bankrate found that the average credit card APR is about 21%. That's huge. But here's a twist. Imagine if you could get that kind of return on your investments instead of paying it in interest. Let's say you have $7,000 on a credit card at 21% APR. If you only make minimum payments, interest piles up fast and much of your money goes straight to the bank. Now flip it. Just imagine if you invested that same $7,000 at 21%. After just 1 year, it could grow to about $8,500 and in 5 years could turn into nearly $19,000. This shows just how much profit you're handing over to the credit card companies. Meanwhile, if some of that debt came from impulse buys, a $200 pair of sneakers, or $150 dinner, you could still be paying off those small indulgences 10 years later because of how interest compounds. That's the difference between debt eating your money and letting your money work for you. The same dollars can either vanish in fees and interest or grow into a serious nest egg. I know I'm not the only adult that sits in their car wondering how they're making the most money they've ever made in their entire life, and it still doesn't seem to be enough. My rent is $2,000 a month, and I live in a townhouse.